All right. Here we go. Alrighty. Good. Jaya Rande, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Shri Govinda, Gopinatha, Matana, Mohan, Jaya Makunda, Radha Kunda, Gile Govardhan, Kalindi, Mula Jaya, Jaya Bhagavat, Keshigata, Vamshi Vata, Dwarasakana, Jaksapati, Lakoela, Shinanda, Nanda, Shinanda, Jashoda Jaya, Jaya Gopaka, Shidamati Jaya Jaya Deduvatsa, Jaya Vrishabhani Jaya Kirtira Sundare Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Vira Nagara Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanata Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakavatu Dream Jaya Ramadata Jaya Rohini Nanda Jaya Jaya Vrinda Vanavasi Jata Jaya Trija Pati Jaya Naga Kanya Matite Jahan Poela Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Lila Chapter Jaya Jaya Jwala Rasa Rasasa Barakia Baveja Brajate She Jana Vapada She Jana Vapada Korea's Smaran Dina Krishna Dasakoye Namu Sankirtan Shri Janama Padma Korea Dina Krishna Dasakoye Namu Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama. Ati Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhu, Pada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Shila Prabhupada, Jaya, Mam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya, Bhutale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Vacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So, let's read. Translation. A little long. All glories to Radha Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavana. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, Shri Govinda, Gopinath, and Madan Mohan. All glories to Shaimakund, Radhakund, Govardhan Hill, and the Yamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshigat, the Vamshivat tree, and the 12 forests of Braja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Shri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sridham. All glories to the cows and calves of Braja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamashi, the mother of Sandi Ponimuni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Braja. All glories to Gopishra Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmin friend, Madhumangal. All glories to Ramnagat, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmins. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the medal of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Braja by Shri Krishna in the form of the divine Caitanya Bhagavat. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Shri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai. Of course, he's the author also of the Caitanya Charitamrita. And now we are going to be reading the Caitanya Bhagavat, which is written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. And we are on chapter 5, actually chapter 6, sorry. We're actually on chapter 6 of the Caitanya Bhagavat, of the Antya Lila, and beginning with text 43, I believe. Okay, on that happy note, let us offer our obeisances. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhaktavrinda. So Om Gana Timiranda Shagananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shigurve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my divine spiritual masters, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, who kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So let's share the screen. And here we go. All right, and we'll just move some windows around so we get a clear view. Okay, so this is in the context of the danger of laughing at a Vaishnava. So we're going to actually read the story, because it starts with talking about Krishna's guru asking Krishna and Balaram to bring back his dead son, and they went to Yamaraja's abode, and they got that dead son back. So, on their order, we're going back a little bit. We're going back so we can reiterate the story and understand the context of this particular section. On their order, the child was delivered from the reactions of his karma. They then brought the child from the abode of Yamaraj and returned him to their spiritual master. When Devaki heard about this wonderful incident, she also asked them to return her dead sons. By the arrangement of providence, Devaki one day spoke in great affliction to Balaram and Krishna. Listen, Raman and Krishna, O best of the topmost mystic yogis, your bodies are primeval, eternal and pure. You two are the fathers of all universes. I know you two are the cause of all causes. The creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the universe is carried out by the portion of your plenary portion. So you see, Devaki really understood that Krishna and Balaram were the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Yashodamaya and Nanda Maharaj did not understand that, and that's why they had a deeper, personal, intimate relationship. Yet you have personally appeared as my sons to diminish the burden of the earth. You two brought the son of your spiritual master from the abode of Yamaraj as dakshin for your guru. I am anxious to see my 6 sons who were killed by Kamsa. Although your guru's son had been dead for some time, by your potency you brought him back. In the same way you can fulfill my desire by bringing back my 6 dead sons. After hearing the words of their mother, Krishna and Sankarshan, that's Balaram, immediately went to the abode of Bali. When Bali Maharaj saw his worshipable lords, he was merged in an ocean of ecstatic love. He immediately surrendered his house, children, body, wealth, and associates at the lotus feet of the lords. Bali's hair stood on end and tears flowed from his eyes as he grabbed hold of their lotus feet and offered prayers in ecstasy. All glories to Ananta, who has appeared as Sankarshan. All glories to Krishna Chandra, the ornament of Gokula. All glories to Haladara Ram. That's Balaram again, who is the friend and leader of the coward boys. All glories to Krishna, the wealth, life, and soul of the devotees. Although the demigods and sages are situated in pure goodness, it is very rare for them to attain your darshan. Yet, O Lord, you are so merciful. Oh, so no private messages, please, in the chat window, because it diverts my attention. Yet, O Lord, you are so merciful that you appear before even demons on in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, you have no friends or enemies. This is the statement of the Vedas, and this is what I have personally seen. Even she who smeared her breast with poison to kill you was awarded a place in Vaikuntha. Therefore, the Vedas and the best of the mystic yogis cannot understand your heart. Even the best of the yogis cannot understand your potencies, how can a sinful demon like me know you? O Lord of all the planets, please give me the benediction that I may never be put in the dark well of family life. I simply wish that I could hold your lotus feet to my chest and peacefully reside under a tree. Please make me a servant of your servant. May I never desire anything other than this. Holding the lotus feet of Rama and Krishna to his chest, Bali Maharaj offered prayers in this way. In the form of the Ganges, the water that is washed at the lotus feet of the Lord purifies the abodes of Brahma and Shiva. Because of his good fortune, Bali and his associates drank such auspicious water and sprinkled it on their heads. Bali offered sandalwood pulp, flowers, incense, lamp, cloth, and ornaments at the lotus feet of the lords and bowed before them. O lords, if you consider me your servant, please order me and personally instruct me. O lords, one who follows your order easily transcends all rules and regulations. The Lord became pleased on hearing the words of Bali. He then explained the purpose of their visit. The Lord said, "Listen, Bali Mahashaya, this is why we have come to your abode. The sinful Kamsa killed my mother's 6 sons. Because of this sin, he was ultimately killed. Because of constantly remembering and lamenting for those sons, Mother Devaki feels distressed and cries. Those 6 sons are here with you. I will take them for my mother's satisfaction. They were perfected beings, grandsons of Brahma. Listen to why they had to suffer so much." So here's the point. These 6 were previously sons of Prajapati Marichi, the son of Brahma. By providence, Brahma once became bewildered by the arrow of Cupid. He gave up all shame and desired to enjoy his daughter. That's a story in the Bhagavatam. Seeing this, these 6 persons laughed. For this fault, they immediately fell down. As a result of ridiculing the activities of an exalted personality, they were forced to take birth in a family of demons. Hiranyakashipu gave trouble to the entire universe. These 6 persons relinquished the bodies of demigods and took birth in his house. These 6 persons suffered various miseries inflicted by Indra's thunderbolt and died. Thereafter, Yogamaya again took them and placed them in the womb of Devaki also. They got cursed to be killed by their grandfather, who took birth as Kamsa. Okay, Kamsa was Kalanemi. So there's a whole story. This is told in the Bhagavatam. Because of the sin incurred by laughing at Brahma, they had to suffer in various ways. From the time of their birth, they suffered unlimited miseries. Although they were his nephews, King Kamsa killed them. Devaki does not know all these confidential topics. She treated them as her own sons. I will return these 6 sons to my mother. This is the reason I have come to you. As soon as they drink milk from Devaki's breast, they will immediately be relieved from the curse. The Lord further said, "Listen, Bali Maharaj, Mahashaya, this is what happens if one ridicules the activities of a Vaishnava. If perfected beings suffer so much, then what can be said of the distress ordinary beings will suffer? A sinful person who blasphemes a Vaishnava suffers birth after birth because of that offense, so you have to be very careful. Listen, Bali, I am teaching you this so that you will never blaspheme or ridicule Vaishnavas. If one who worships me and chants my name blasphemes my devotee, his progress is checked. There is no doubt that one who has love and devotion for my devotee will attain me. There is doubt whether or not the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead will attain perfection, but there is absolutely no doubt that those who are attached to serving his devotees will attain perfection. It's a secret in devotional service. One who simply worships me but does not worship my devotee is proud. He is not qualified for my mercy. Proud and arrogant persons who worship Lord Krishna but do not worship the Lord's devotees do not attain Lord Krishna's mercy. O Bali, you are my most confidential servant, therefore I have explained this confidential topic to you. When Bali Mahashaya heard the Lord's instructions, his heart was filled with great happiness. Accepting the Lord's order, he immediately brought Devaki's 6 sons and presented them to the 2 lords. Thereafter, Krishna and Balaram took the 6 persons and immediately brought them to their mother. As soon as Devaki saw her dead son, she fed them her breast milk. By drinking the breast milk that had been drunk by the Lord, they immediately attained transcendental knowledge. As everyone there watched, they offered obeisances at the feet of the Lord. The Lord then cast his merciful glance on them and began to speak with compassion. O demigods, return to your abodes. Do not ridicule exalted personalities again. Brahma has the potency of the Supreme Lord, so he is as good as the Lord. Even if he does something wrong, he is not to be blamed. You suffered so much because you laughed at him. Do not maintain such a mentality again. Go and beg forgiveness from Brahma, then you will again attain satisfaction. After hearing the Lord's order, those 6 persons accepted it with great respect. After offering obeisances to their father, mother, Balaram, and Krishna, those demigods returned to their own abode. O Brahmana, I have thus explained to you topics from Srimad Bhagavatam. Completely give up your doubts about Nityananda. So this, the background of the story is this Brahmana. He was observing Lord Nityananda, who was wearing all this jewelry and not exactly acting like a perfect sannyasi. In fact, quite the opposite in many regards. And so he had doubts of Lord Nityananda. Not that he was laughing at him, but there was doubts. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was telling him this story to dissipate the doubts that the Brahmin had in Lord Nityananda. Nityananda Swarup is supremely qualified, yet less fortunate people cannot understand him. Anyone who sees his extraordinary activities with respect will be delivered. He incarnated to save the fallen souls. All living entities will be delivered by him. His behavior is beyond all rules and regulations. Who has the power to understand him? If one who does not understand and blasphemes his unfathomable characteristics, then his advancement will be checked, even if he has attained the devotional service of Vishnu. O Brahmana, go quickly to Navadvip. Explain these topics so that everyone will understand. If anyone blasphemes him in any way, he will not escape the punishment of Yamaraj. One who loves him loves me. O Brahmana, I tell you, this is the truth, the truth, the truth. Now it says when you repeat something 3 times, that means it's definitely 100% eternal truth. Even if Nityananda goes to a liquor house or associates with an outcast girl, he is worshipable for Brahma. Wow. Whether Sri Nityananda accepts the hand of a woman or enters a liquor shop, his lotus feet are still worshipable by even Brahma. After hearing the Lord's words, the fortunate Brahmin became filled with ecstasy. He developed great faith in Nityananda. Thereafter, the Brahmana returned to his residence in Navadvip. After returning to Navadvip, that fortunate Brahmana first went to see Nityananda. He admitted his offense without duplicity, and Nityananda Prabhu bestowed his mercy on him. Such is the behavior of Nityananda Swarup. His dealings are incomprehensible to the Vedas and ordinary people. According to spiritual consideration, Nityananda is supreme among the best of the mystic yogis. He is known as Adideva, the sustainer of all universes. He has thousands of heads, and his body is eternally pure. No one can understand him without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Some people say Nityananda is like Balaram. Others say he is most dear to Lord Chaitanya. Some people say he is a powerful plenary portion of the Supreme Lord. Other people say we cannot understand anything about him. Someone may consider Nityananda an ordinary living entity. Someone may consider him a devotee, and someone may consider him a jnani. They may say whatever they like. Even if Nityananda was a most insignificant servant of Lord Chaitanya, still I would keep his lotus feet in my heart. He is my master. So Vrindavan Das Thakur was initiated by Nityananda. and I'm his servant birth after birth. This is my aspiration at the feet of everyone. Therefore I kick the head of any sinful person who disregards the glories of Lord Nityananda and dares to criticize him. Shri Gaurasundar is the Lord of my Lord. I always keep this conviction in my heart. Will that day come, ever come, when I may see Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda in the midst of their devotees? All glories to you, Lord Gaurachandra. Kindly give me the shelter of Nityananda Prabhu and allow me to meet him. O Gaurahari, I further pray that even after gaining Lord Nityananda's association, I may never forget your lotus feet. May I achieve the qualification to become your servant wherever the two of you incarnate, accepting Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So, we finished chapter 6. Now we go into chapter 7. Chapter 7 is entitled The Pastimes in Gadadhar's Garden. Okay, skip over the chapter summary. All glory is to Shri Gaurachandra, the Lord of Vaikuntha. All glory is to Shri Nityananda, the personification of the Lord's service. All glory is to the object of Shri Advaita and Srivasa's love. All glory is to the life and soul of Gadadhar and Shri Jagadananda. All glory is to the life and soul of Paramananda Puri. All glory is to the treasure of Swarup Damodar's life. All glory is to the benefactor of Rakreshwara Pandit. All glory is to the enchanter of Pundarika Vijayanidhi. All glory is to the Lord of Govinda, the doorkeeper. O Lord, please glance mercifully on the living entities. In this way, Nityananda enjoyed in the ocean of ecstatic love of God while staying in Navadvip. Nityananda would constantly engage in Sankirtan along with his devotees. Indeed, chanting and dancing and glorification of Krishna became their only occupation. As Nityananda previously sported house to house with the cowherd boys in Gokula, he manifested those blissful Gokula pastimes while performing kirtan. The supremely independent Lord Nityananda once desired to see Gaurachandra. Taking permission from Mother Sachi, he departed for Nilachal by the will of Sri Chaitanya. He became overwhelmed as he chanted Lord Chaitanya's name and qualities while traveling on the path to Nilachal with his associates. Nilachal, of course, is Jagannath Puri. His associates would constantly roar, shout loudly, dance, and cry in ecstasy. Passing the entire journey absorbed in love of Krishna, they arrived at Nilachal after some days. Arriving at Kamalapura, Nityananda fell unconscious upon seeing the temple of Lord Jagannath. It's described, if you just offer obeisances to the flag at the top of the temple, that's the same benefit as seeing the deity, especially if you can't go in the temple because of various reasons. Constant tears flowed from his eyes, and he loudly roared, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Nityananda came and stayed in one flower garden. Who can understand his desire other than Sri Chaitanya? Understanding that Nityananda had arrived, Sri Gaurachandra left his devotees and went there alone. Sri Gaurachandra arrived there as Nityananda was sitting absorbed in transcendental bliss. When the Lord saw Nityananda sitting in meditation, he began to repeatedly circumambulate him. The Lord was filled with love, and as he circumambulated Nityananda, he recited a verse describing his glories. Please hear the verse describing Nityananda's glories that Sri Chaitanya recited. By hearing this verse, one's mind will be attracted to Nityananda. Whether Sri Nityananda accepts the hand of an outcast woman or enters a liquor shop, his lotus feet are still worshipable by even Brahma. Gaurachandra said, if Nityananda enters a liquor shop or accepts the hand of an outcast woman, he is still worshipable by even Brahma. Anyways, pretty much a repeat, a little bit different. Gaurahari produced a shower of ecstatic love of God as he recited this verse and circumambulated Nityananda. At that moment, Nityananda got up with great reverence while chanting, Huri Huri. The happiness Nityananda felt by seeing the face of Sri Gaurachandra is difficult to describe. Nityananda roared like a lion, chanted the name of Huri, and fell forcefully to the ground in an ecstatic love of God. The two lords then circumambulated each other and offered obeisances to each other. One moment they embraced with love, and the next moment they cried as they held each other's neck. In another moment the two rolled on the ground in transcendental happiness and roared louder than maddened lions. The wonderful reciprocation of love between the two was like that previously found between Rama and Lakshman. They both recited verses glorifying the other, and then they offered obeisances with folded hands to each other, shedding tears, shivering, laughing, losing consciousness, hair standing on end, changing of bodily color, and other bodily transformations produced by devotional service to Krishna were fully manifest in those two lords. Those symptoms were found only in the bodies of those two lords. Lord Chaitanya personally manifested such symptoms and also manifested them in others. Such wonderful, ecstatic, devotional love is seen by an unalloyed servant of the Lord to his full satisfaction. After some time, Gaurahari folded his hands and began to offer prayers to Nityananda. O Nityananda, you are the personified form of the holy name and the form of eternal bliss. You are the abode of all the Vaishnavas, and you yourself are Lord Ananta. All the ornaments decorating your transcendental body are incarnations of devotional service to Lord Krishna. This is the truth, the truth, the truth. Again, 3 times. You take pleasure decorating yourself with the 9 processes of devotional service in the form of ornaments bedecked with gold, pearls, diamonds, and rudraksha. So these different ornaments that Lord Nityananda was wearing represented the 9 aspects of devotional service, beginning with hearing, chanting, remembering. All the fallen, wretched, low-born living entities will now be delivered by your mercy. The devotional service that you have given to the mercantile community is desired by the demigods, sages, perfect mystics, and great yogis. You were able to sell Krishna, who is proclaimed as fully independent in the Vedas. Who has the power to know your glories? You are the personification of the transcendental mellows of love for Krishna. You have forgotten the external world and are engaged day and night in glorifying the qualities of Lord Krishna. Krishna Chandra always resides in your heart. Thus your body is the abode of Krishna's pastime. These are wonderful prayers to Lord Nityananda. Therefore, it is certainly true that Krishna will never leave anyone who becomes attached to you. Therefore, Lord Nityananda humbly spoke to the Lord as follows. Although you are the Lord, you offer prayers to me. This is proof of your affection for your devotees. You may circumambulate me, offer obeisances to me, kill me, or protect me according to your own will. O Lord, what can I say? You see everything through your transcendental eyes. You are the Lord and life of all beings. I do whatever you make me do. You induced me to accept a danda, and then yourself made me reject it. I gave up the duties of a mendicant and accepted bracelets, anklets, stick, flute, a buffalo horn, and a rope. You have taught the principles of austerity and devotional service to Dvaitacharya and other dear associates, yet you induced me to give up the duties of a mendicant and made me an object of laughter for the common people. So, he was in one sense a sannyasi and then got into all these things. And Lord Chaitanya wanted that. I'm only a dancer in your hands. I dance for your pleasure as you wish. Of course, Lord Chaitanya is showing us that devotional service to Krishna is transcendental to Varnashram. You alone can bestow mercy. But of course, no one has the right to violate their ashram. If you're in a particular ashram, stick with that ashram and do your duty, especially sannyasa ashram. You alone can bestow mercy or neglect. The proof is that you have induced even trees to chant the holy name. The Lord replied, the ornaments on your body are nothing but the 9 processes of devotional service. Your body is eternally decorated with ornaments like hearing, chanting, remembering, and offering obeisances. Yet people cannot understand this, just as they do not understand why Shankara decorates his body with a serpent. Actually, Mahadev accepts Ananta as his life and soul. Therefore, he always keeps Ananta in the form of the serpent wrapped around his neck. So that's why Lord Shiva keeps a serpent around his neck. People without understanding his unfathomable characteristics criticize him, and as a result, their progress is checked. I do not see anything in your transcendental body, mind, and speech other than the mellows of devotional service. For your own pleasure, you have willingly accepted the transcendental mellows relished by the Brajabasis as your ornaments. A fortunate person who takes pleasure hearing these topics will certainly see Krishna's beautiful face. You are always adorned with a stick, flute, buffalo horn, gunja necklace, flower garland, and sandalwood pole. The boys who associate with you remind me of Sridham and Sudam. I therefore think that all your associates are boys who used to play with you in Vrindavan. In fact, they were. I see in your body the sentiments, beauty, and potencies manifested in the devotional service of the residents of Vrindavan. Therefore, whoever loves you or your servants factually loves me. Who can fully understand what Mukunda and Ananta spoke in their own ecstatic mood? When after some time the lords regained their external consciousness, they went and sat in a secluded place within the flower garden. The conversation that took place between the two lords is known only to the Vedas. Whenever Lord Chaitanya or Nityananda met each other, there was usually no one else around. Therefore, by the desire of Lord Chaitanya, the activities of these two lords, who are the personifications of ecstasy, are not known to anyone else. Knowing the desire of Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda Swarup would always meet him alone. As the Lord did not reveal his own identity, he also concealed the glories of Nityananda. The heart of the Supreme Lord is very soft and difficult to understand. This is confirmed in the Vedic literatures by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. People who chant the glories of the Lord admit that they do not know or understand his heart. Even Lakshmi says like this, so what to speak of others? In this way, Lord Chaitanya enjoyed ecstatic exchanges that he did not disclose to anyone. Yet everyone thought, the Lord does not love anyone more than me. He tells me all the confidential topics like follow the principles of a mendicant and always worship Krishna. Then he tells me to give up the principles of a mendicant and accept a stick, flute, peacock feather, gunjamala, and rope. Some say the Lord's pastimes with the cowherd boys of Vrindavan are superior to his pastimes with other devotees. The devotion attained by the gopas and gopis of Vrindavan is the result of great austerities. That platform is desired by Brahma, Shiva, and other great personalities. Only a fortunate person can achieve the mood of the residents of Gokula, a mood that is desired by Uddhava. I repeatedly offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaj's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. In this way, whatever mood a Vaishnava develops is always accepted by Lord Gaurachandra. By the Lord's will, the devotees would sometimes engage in loving quarrels, and Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu would also enjoy taking part in such exchanges. By Krishna's mercy, everyone was overwhelmed with transcendental happiness, yet sometimes loving quarrels took place even between Gaurachandra and Nityananda. Whoever takes the side of one Lord, criticizing the other Lord, is most unfortunate. Of course, we see the loving quarrels in the Caitanya Charitamrita are usually between Lord Nityananda and Advaitacharya, who are calling each other names. All the devotees are non-different from the Lord, as the legs, fingers, and arms are non-different from the body. A person with average intelligence does not think the head and other parts of the body to be separate. Similarly, my devotee does not differentiate Vishnu, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, from anything or any living entity. In other words, he considers all living entities as simultaneously one with and different from the absolute truth. In other words, the same nature all living entities have, but different quantity, quality same, quantity different, and also because they're part and parcel of Krishna, just like the son is one and different from the father or the daughter. Still, the Vaishnava's conclusion is that Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya is the supreme Lord of all. They glorify the Lord as the controller, maintainer, creator, and incomprehensible truth. Devotional service is attained through the mercy of those in whose bodies the Supreme Lord manifests. Although the Lord awards all knowledge and strength, he nevertheless awards punishment to those who commit offenses. Yet Lord Chaitanya had special affection for Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya. He never hesitated to glorify them. Even if those two violated social etiquette millions of times, Lord Gaurachandra would not say anything. In this way, Lord Gauranga and Avaduta Chandra, Sri Nityananda, spent some time together in great ecstasy. Then Lord Gauranga took leave of Nityananda and returned to his residence. Nityananda Swarup also happily departed to see Lord Jagannath. By hearing about this meeting between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, one is freed from all bondage. Haribol! When Lord Nityananda saw Lord Jagannath, he became overwhelmed in ecstasy and began rolling on the ground. He fell on the stone floor with such force that 100 people could not break his fall. Nityananda Prabhu shed tears while looking at Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, and Sudarshana. Sudarshana, of course, is the chakra of the Supreme Lord. Understanding Nityananda's influence, the Brahmanas garland him again and again with the Lord's garlands. All the servants of Lord Jagannath became jubilant on seeing Nityananda. Anyone who didn't know Nityananda's identity inquired from others who replied, "He is the brother of Sri Krishna Chaitanya." Lord Nityananda embraced everyone and soaked them with his tears. After seeing Lord Jagannath and his servants, Lord Nityananda happily went to meet Gadadhar Pandit. The transcendental affection between Nityananda and Gadadhar can be described only by the Supreme Lord. The son of Nanda Maharaj in the beautiful form of Gopinath resided in the house of Gadadhar. Of course, that's the Tota Gopinath deity, who at present is sitting down. Previously, he was standing up to allow Gadadhar to dress him in Gadadhar's old age. Amazing deity, beautiful deity. Lord Chaitanya once personally embraced that deity of Gopinath. Even atheists forget everything upon seeing that deity. It is a fact. As Nityananda Prabhu looked at Gopinath's beautiful face, which was adorned with a flute, his tears of love could not be checked. When Gadadhar understood that Nityananda had arrived, he immediately left his recitation of Bhagavatam and came to receive him. Upon seeing each other, they embraced and began to cry. The two Prabhus offered obeisances and glorified each other. They both exclaimed, "Today my eyes have become purified, my life has become successful." They both lost external consciousness and floated in oceans of ecstatic love. When the devotees surrounding them saw their manifestation of ecstatic love, they began to cry. What wonderful affection there is between Nityananda and Gadadhar. Neither of them would ever speak to anyone who was disliked by the other. This was the vow of Gadadhar. He would never see the face of one who offends Nityananda. Gadadhar Pandit would avoid being seen by anyone who had no love for Nityananda Swarup. Thereafter, the two Prabhus became pacified and sat down to engage in Lord Chaitanya's auspicious Sankirtan. Then Gadadhar said to Nityananda, "Take your meal here today." Nityananda had carefully brought one mound 40 kilos of rice for Gadadhar to offer to Gopinath. He had brought this very fine white rice fit to be offered to Gopinath from Bengal. Along with the rice, he had brought a beautifully colored cloth for Gopinath. He said, "O Gadadhar, cook this rice, and after offering it to Gopinath, eat it." On seeing the rice, Pandit Goswami laughed and said, "I have never seen such rice before. You must have brought this rice for Gopinath from Vaikuntha. Lakshmi alone cooks such rice for Krishna to eat. The devotees then enjoy its remnants." After joyfully glorifying the rice in this way, Gadadhar took the cloth for offering to Gopinath. Gadadhar decorated Gopinath with that beautifully colored cloth and floated in ecstasy on seeing the beauty of the Lord. Gadadhar then made arrangements for cooking. He himself picked the shak from his compound. No one had planted that shak. It grew there naturally. This shaka was picked and cooked by Gadadhar. Gadadhar then picked soft, newly grown tamarind leaves, which he ground and mixed with salt water. The fortunate Gadadhar then prepared a sour vegetable preparation with this. As he offered the preparations to Gopinath, Sri Gaurachandra arrived there. Gaurachandra was joyfully chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra when he came. Gaurachandra then called out, "Gadadhar, Gadadhar!" And Gadadhar quickly came and offered his obeisances to the Lord. Lord Chaitanya then smiled and asked, "Oh, Gadadhar, am I not included in your invitation list? I'm not different from either of you. Even if you don't offer me anything, I will take it by force. I am certainly entitled to a share of the items brought by Nityananda, cooked by you, and relished by Gopinath." When Nityananda and Gadadhar heard this merciful statement of the Lord, they both merged in an ocean of happiness and great satisfaction. Sri Gadadhar then brought the prasad and placed it before Lord Gaurachandra. The fragrance of the rice permeated the entire garden. In a devotional mood, Lord Chaitanya repeatedly offered prayers to the rice. Then the Lord said, "Divide this rice into 3 portions, and we will sit together and eat." Being attracted by the rice brought by Nityananda Swarup, Mahaprabhu sat down to eat. Gadadhar and Nityananda sat on either side of the Lord, who glorified the rice and the vegetable preparation. The Lord declared, "The fragrance of this rice will without doubt bestow on one devotion to Krishna." "O Gadadhar, what a wonderful cook you are. I have never tasted such shak before. O Gadadhar, your cooking is so amazing. You have made such nice vegetable preparation with tamarind leaves." So Gadadhar, of course, is Radharani. Who is the best cook? "I can understand that you cook in Vaikuntha, so why are you hiding yourself?" As the 3 Prabhus laughed and joked in this way, they relished the mellows of ecstatic love as they ate in satisfaction. The affection shared between these 3 is known only to them. Gaurachandra would generally not discuss this with anyone else. After finishing their meal, they got up and left. The devotees then snatched their remnants. Whoever hears or reads about these blissful eating pastimes achieves Krishna and his devotional service. Whoever receives the merciful glance of Gadadhar can know Nityananda Swarup, and whoever pleases Nityananda can know Sri Gadadhar. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu happily enjoyed pastimes with Gaurachandra and Nilachal. In Nilachal, these 3, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Nityananda, and Gadadhar, would always stay together. Together they would visit the temple of Lord Jagannath and become overwhelmed with ecstatic love while performing Sankirtan. Accepting Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul. Actually, we're finishing the chapter already. I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So that's the end of that chapter. That thus ends the English translation of the Gaudiya Bhasha of Sri Caitanya Bhagavat, Antya Kanda, Chapter 7, entitled Pastimes in Sri Gadadhar's Garden. And tomorrow we will go to Chapter 8, which is Mahaprabhu's water spots in Narendra Sarovara. So just finishing right on time. And so we'll stop sharing and allow you to ask questions. Now, as we mention all the time, if you want to ask a question, you raise your hand by going to the reaction heart at the bottom of the screen and clicking on raise hand, and then I will call you and ask you to unmute yourself so you could ask your question. Pretty ecstatic interactions between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda today, and also ecstatic, I use this word ecstatic a lot, ecstatic interactions between Lord Nityananda and Gadadhar and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you see the intimate, friendly, loving relationship. These devotees, well, not just devotees, the Lord and his consort, Gadadhar is Radharani, these particular personalities have between each other, and they're showing to us the type of interactions we should have with each other. Of course, we're not intimate with Lord Chaitanya like Lord Nityananda is, nor can we get away with being an avatuta like Lord Nityananda. So we should strictly follow the rules and regulations of our varna and our ashram. And certainly we don't want sannyasis wearing a lot of jewelry, like Lord Nityananda had rings, expensive rings on each and every finger, and all sorts of necklaces, pearls, gold, diamonds, sapphires. So sannyasis should be vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga, into renunciation and attaining knowledge in Krishna consciousness. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, Acharya, you have a question. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you, Gurudev. I was just wondering when you were reading about um, the offenses to the devotees, and how far does it actually go? Because sometimes, I mean, even the leaders of our movement may be doing something. I mean, there were stories of, the temple president having girlfriends and things like that, and devotees were thinking,
Wow, that's a different
oh,
thing. That's
devotees, so we should not offend them or criticize them. So how far does it go that we're going
well,
to
actually,
criticize?
actually, we well, the story was you don't laugh at a Vaishnava and you don't offend them. So if a Vaishnava is having difficulty, you don't laugh at them or offend them. In other words, you don't go on the internet and start criticizing them, but you take appropriate measure. Let's say if you have a temple president and he has a girlfriend who he's not married to, obviously his wife should be his girlfriend. But anyway, so if he has a girlfriend that he's not married to, or breaking the regular principles, you report that to his authority, GBC or whatever, regional council, GBC, and you do it confidentially. Like Prabhupada would get very upset. I remember there was one sannyasi who fell down, and another sannyasi broadcast the news. That was before the internet, so somehow or other he broadcasted through word of mouth. And Prabhupada was angrier at the sannyasi who broadcast the news than the sannyasi who fell down. So there's an etiquette way to do it because we're dealing with devotees. I mean, if a devotee deviates for some reason or other, and it's more than just an accidental deviation, still the person's a devotee. So the whole idea is to bring people back to Krishna consciousness. Now, in certain circumstances, obviously, if someone is a child abuser, for example, that requires a lot more heavy public knowledge. But in other cases, things should be handled confidentially. Even if other people know, it's not something, there shouldn't be the talk of the street about that particular individual because we want the person to come back. Maybe not come back as a sannyasi, maybe not come back as a temple president, but come back as a devotee so they can associate with devotees, rather than have everyone look at them like they were a demon. Except for extreme cases, someone's a murderer, a child abuser, obviously, then they have to have some notoriety. That means people have to know about that. But in other cases, certainly no laughing. Oh, I saw so and so with his girlfriend smoking marijuana. Ah, really? Really? I mean, because I can think of many devotees who deviated and then later on they came back and they performed nice devotional service. I mean, but for the grace of the Lord, one should be thinking, but for the grace of the Lord, there go I. So, these things have to be dealt with great care when dealing with Vaishnavas. Great, great, great care. And to consider one of the ways one can offend a Vaishnava is to consider the past activities of a Vaishnava. Other than those serious cases, okay, that's a caveat. Other than those serious cases, it is actually offensive to talk about, or even talk about Vaishnava before they came to Krishna consciousness. How could you be a good devotee? I remember you were we were all smoking marijuana together. So that's offensive. To consider a Vaishnava's past, to consider it, some uh, uh, accidental deviation, to consider some mistake, to consider some reaction the Vaishnava is getting, or sickness or reaction the Vaishnava is getting for some previous activity. That is actually, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of the causes of offenses against Vaishnava. So one has to be very, very careful. Very, very careful. Of course, if you see, anyway, a Vaishnava going to a liquor store and drinking liquor, obviously. But Lord Nityananda is a special case. Even if he does that, you don't say anything. Even if Lord Nityananda was a sannyasi and that he gets married, which he did, you don't say anything. There's nothing wrong. I mean, he's in a special category, just like Lord Brahma is in a special category. Lord Chaitanya is in a special category. We're not in a special category. We're an ordinary category. Okay. See, here's a question in the chat window. Is having darshans of Sridham Mayapur and Navadvip online. I came across many temples with Gaur Gadadhar deities. Yes. Yes. Generally in the Gaudiya Math, they worship Gaur Gadadhar deities. That's fine. What's the problem with that? It's really confusing. There's Gaur Gadadhar. I mean, some temples they worship Lakshmi Nrsimha. Some temples they worship Lakshmi Kurma. Nothing wrong with Gaur Gadadhar, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Prabhupada stressed very much the worship of Gaur Nitai because we need Gaur Nitai, Lord Nityananda's mercy, especially in the Western world, and actually now in India too. And here's another question, the final question. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, how can we understand the ecstatic emotions expressed by Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda? In the present age, if we cry too much or roar loudly, it is diagnosed as depression or bipolar disorder. So the point is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda's crying was generally done in a private situation, as we read today. I mean, at least the extreme crying. And obviously, if we're not surrounded by devotees, we don't do that. And even if you are surrounded by devotees, you should not do that. Anyway. Anyway, we don't. This is a very private thing. And so a devotee, like even when Prabhupada was experiencing ecstasy, and one time or twice or three times, he went into some sort of trance. Prabhupada just didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it. And you don't see Prabhupada like screaming in ecstasy. And I'm sure Prabhupada felt extreme emotions, Vyabhachari Bhava. Yet, Prabhupada never displayed any of those things publicly. So, Prabhupada is our acharya. Privately you could have these things, but publicly Prabhupada never displayed these things. Finally, who is a Avaduta Chanda? That's Lord Nityananda, who's an Avaduta, not a Dvaita Goswami. Someone's asking me that question. Who was a Dvaita Avaduta Chanda? Obviously Nityananda, because he was an Advaita. He was an Avaduta. Advaita was not an Avaduta. Okay, on that happy note, we will see everybody tomorrow and continue with the Caitanya Bhagavat. All glories